So I have been struggling to make regular videos. It's hard working full time and sort of picking this up as a hobby, but I'm hoping to get back on track. I did have family in town recently, so um, it was a little harder to sneak away to the movie theater, but I went back this weekend and I went to see Ash, which was released on March 21st. I had heard about this one a little while ago, mostly because someone who was posting an upcoming horror movies video mentioned that it was directed by Flying Lotus, who, if you don't know, is a musician that I had been listening to for a couple of years. So I was interested to see what his directorial debut would turn out like. This one was written by Johnny Remler, starring Eiza Gonzalez and Aaron Paul. So we'll dive right into Recipe. A woman wakes up on a distant planet and finds the crew of her space station viciously killed. Her investigation into what happened sets in motion a terrifying chain of events. Pretty vague IMDb synopsis, so I'm going to try to stick to that vagueness and not give anything away until I get into spoilers. So the movie follows Rhea, who is waking up on her space station on a strange planet without any memory of herself or what happened there. She's sort of discovering bodies of her crew. This plot is set in space, so dealing with an unknown planet, kind of exploring whether or not it's viable. I believe it's a mission from Earth, which has become uninhabitable, and this crew is trying to determine if this planet is somewhere that they can live. Because it's a mystery unfolding, we start at the beginning where we don't know what's happened, and the main character that we follow doesn't know what's happened, so there's a lot of sort of unreliable states in this story, and just like a slowly unfolding mystery. Very limited settings. There's really just two ships, the sort of like outside surrounding planet, and not much else. So it's kind of has like a claustrophobic sort of setup. This one is listed as a sci-fi thriller horror. I think sci-fi horror is not necessarily one of my favorites, but there's a lot of really good entries in this genre, specifically, of course, the original Alien movie, as well as some of the sequels and remakes. Also, Coherence, one of my favorites, sci-fi horror thrillers, probably more on the thriller side, but a really good like mind-bending movie if that's something that y'all are into. Flavor of this one, nothing too much stuck out to me, but definitely themes of isolation and madness, being that it is in space, and seemingly some of the characters have lost their minds or are losing their minds, sort of like an unquestionable, or a questionable rather, reality. In this day and age, it could be easy to infer themes of kind of the temporary nature of our ability to live on Earth, and sort of what the future holds for us. It's not really overt in this movie, but you could definitely pull that together if you were so inclined. With the execution, I know that critics have so far not been a huge fan of this. I haven't read too many reviews, but just generally I've sort of seen kind of a lukewarm reception to it, which I can understand. Plot-wise, it didn't add much to the sci-fi horror, like space genre. A lot of the plot points seemed recycled from other movies, and it didn't really add anything original in that regard. It does do very well visually. It's a very visually striking movie, and the soundtrack also is very good, no doubt done by Flying Lotus, so it's very atmospheric and intriguing to look at. Even some of the more gorier, spookier moments of the movie are really visually stunning, so it definitely has that going for it. Acting was good. Always delighted to see Aaron Paul, as someone who's from Albuquerque. Definitely know him from his work on Breaking Bad. And he's just good in whatever role he does. I've never seen Eiza Gonzalez in anything, but she was great as well. Not too much performances outside of that we see throughout the movie. Flying Lotus himself does make a little bit of a cameo as one of the crew members, so it's a fun little Easter egg as well. The costume design was really neat. I think it added something unique to the look of the movie, not something too typical in terms of like spacesuits. The set design was really neat. There was always something cool to look at in the surroundings, like in the ship itself. They had a lot of interesting little set pieces. So again, it sort of added to like the visual strikingness of the movie. Was this a scary movie? Not so much, though. There were some moments that genuinely did spook me and creep me out. Minimal jump scares, not too many for those of you who are sensitive to it. There were some pretty cool visuals. One of my favorite things to see in a horror movie is just like a stationary face. So just like a face in a window or in like a door crack. That gets me every time. Very spooky. So there was some of that in this movie. And the gore was very interesting and well done. I don't know how much of it was practical and how much of it was CGI, but there were some really interesting just visuals in terms of like the violence and the gore in the movie. I'll talk a little bit more about that in spoilers. But overall, unsettling at times, made me sort of like cringe at times, like some nasty stuff going on, which is always welcome, but not very scary, I would say. So we got through the first few categories, so this portion will be about spoilers, so if you don't want to be spoiled, totally get it. Definitely check this one out. It is a more of an indie release, so definitely needs a little love. So go check it out, come back, and let me know what you thought. So the movie starts with the main character waking up on the floor, sort of inexplicably. She wanders around finding several bodies and not really reacting to them. So it's kind of made clear initially that she doesn't really know what's going on. And then it's later revealed that she doesn't remember who she is or what happened in the spaceship. So it's really kind of wandering through like dark halls, the ship overhead kind of talking about something, and nothing is really revealed for a little bit, and then Aaron Paul's character shows up and sort of gives some more background, saying that I guess there was a distress signal from the crew saying that one of their members had lost their minds, not Rhea but another character, and that character is actually missing from the ship at the time. They found the other bodies, but not this particular person. So again, they don't know what's going on. The ship is losing oxygen, and they have to wait for the orbit, the ship that Aaron Paul was on, to come back around so that they can use his ship to go back up before the oxygen expires in the ship that they're currently on. But Rhea wants to stay and figure out what happens, and so she's slowly gaining more and more memories back, and eventually figures out that she was the one who killed everyone, but is still not sure why that might be the case. So Rhea and Aaron Paul's character Brian are preparing to get back to his ship and then ultimately get back to the orbiting ship, and there's a really weird dream sequence with some like really bright visuals and some really loud costumes. And this reminds her that there's a drone on the ship. So she watches the footage from the drone, and it turns out that while her and the crew were on their little sightseeing mission, like exploring the planet, they found like alien technology, and Flying Lotus's character actually gets like aliened in the face after throwing a brick in a hole, which you probably shouldn't do on a alien planet. I don't know. Whatever training manuals they went through to get onto this mission probably should have included not throwing rocks in big holes. But alas, that is what happens. And I guess he dies right away or something. So Rhea confronts Brian about it. He's cagey. He doesn't really answer any of her questions, just saying that like he knew that something happened but didn't know what happened. She puts on another patch thing, has a couple more memories about like violently killing members of the crew, and then goes to find Brian and runs into Clark, the woman who supposedly went crazy and tried to kill everybody. And then they have a fight scene. Rhea ends up drowning her in her little space helmet, and then drags her body into the room with the little surgery machine from earlier. And it turns out that there's no like parasite or anything like wrong with her aside from the fact that she just drowned. Also, while this is going on, she found Brian dead. So she drags his body into the room, does the little scan on him. He doesn't have any parasites either, but it's revealed that he died like way longer ago than just like in the last couple of hours or something. I think, which is probably evident by my synopsis, I got a little confused, a little lost. So ultimately she removes the worm with her little robot, and then it latches itself onto dead Aaron Paul, and probably the most fun sequence in the movie ensues where it's like his face split open and he's chasing after her and they're fighting, and she sets him on fire. It's a whole thing. And then she has this, brave moment of going to the other ship, and then somehow she gets, I don't know, she gets off the planet, and the last shot is of her flying in the little spaceship and remembering the crew members and going up to the orbit thing. Yeah, kind of confusing. Hopefully that synopsis didn't confuse you more than anything else. Yeah, it lost me. I want to like it because some of the visuals were really cool. I loved the way that the parasite like enters orifices. It was really gross, and once the parasite was like within people, the way their faces and their mannerisms changed was really off-putting and spooky. The last sequence of Aaron Paul's character with his face all lit and like tendrils coming out of him was also spooky and strange. There were some really cool sequences, like almost like dream sequences of like the crew's faces melting and like weird stuff, and so many of the visuals were so cool. But the plot kind of didn't make sense. There were a lot of points that and maybe I don't know, but I watched it in a theater, so I didn't have like other stimulus. I didn't get distracted. I was watching it and I was paying attention. Some of the things just kind of didn't make sense, and I wasn't sure why it happened. I was kind of left not really understanding what the point was. And I don't know. So much of it was really just cut and paste. You have the little surgery machine thing, which is Prometheus, I believe, and removing the alien using that, and just the whole alien thing in general. It felt like it was really trying to be almost a part of the franchise, but not really. The plot was, it just felt very like borrowed from a lot of other movies. So I don't know. I was left feeling kind of lukewarm on this one. The soundtrack was beautiful, and I'll definitely, when I drove home from the theater, I was listening to Flying Lotus. So that's definitely worth checking out as well. And I think the movie is too. It's just, it's a debut, so I would definitely look forward to future Flying Lotus projects. Visually stunning, like a very long, sort of not super plot-wise intriguing music video, you know. I think personally I'm giving it 2.5 out of 5. Again, wouldn't be something I'd rewatch, but I do want to support you know, more independent stuff, and I think that, you know, in the future I'll definitely check out other projects that he does, because it was, you know, visually beautiful. There were things to like about it for sure. Plot-wise, little meh. Another little personal rant that I have that I will make in this video and probably in future videos. I always want people to be more beat up. I always find it silly when someone has had like the fight of their life, right? And they have like a nice little split lip and like a little like cut on the eyebrow. I want people's faces to be like swollen and look gross. I don't know what that is. I think of Hunter Schafer in Cuckoo and how she gets so beat up throughout that movie, and I think that's just, it adds something that I really appreciate. I don't think people need to be, especially like characters that are already like very beautiful, such as Rhea in this movie. Just like, I don't know, I want her to look a little bit less, like she can look a little more beat up, I think. That's just like a personal pet peeve. I don't know what that is, but I just always appreciate when people look like they've been through what they've been through. I don't know, just a little petty thing of mine. If you watched this movie and you had a clearer understanding of the plot and can tell me what I missed or how I missed it, let me know. I would appreciate it. So that is it for today. I am hoping to get back on track. It can be a little tricky going to see a movie every weekend, but I do feel immensely grateful that there are enough horror releases that is even possible. So hoping to make some more videos in the coming weeks. So please like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and on Letterboxd, and have a good weekend, y'all.